Hi everyone, it's me Lindsay again with EquipMeOT here today to show you how to sleep with a neck brace on. So I've done a few other videos on neck braces and we came to the sleeping one because this is one of the most challenging things for folks who are using a neck brace for a recovery process or even for a disease process that's required. This is difficult to get comfortable in. So we're going to go over a couple of strategies that are really bed-based. So if you're going to be sleeping in a neck brace for a stretch of time and you're going to have to be sleeping in a bed, these strategies are for you. So let's get started with it, with the equipment you're going to want to have on hand in order to get comfortable. So I like to recommend folks have a bed available to them that they can get comfortable in because sometimes you just need to stretch out. But for a lot of people, they find that the easiest place to get comfortable is a recliner. So a lot of people do rely on their recliner to sleep in for a period of time in their neck brace. But for this video, I'm going to talk about how to do it if you were not planning on sleeping in a recliner. So I have this nice wedge here, which I really like for elevating your head as well as your feet if you're in a situation where you need to get your legs up from the bed level or even from a recliner level. So this wedge, I'll link down below. I really like it. It's to get your head up. The other things you're going to need are a stack of good pillows. Now it's really important that you have at least one pillow in here that is a very flat, soft pillow. That's going to be really important for having proper support without having your head too elevated. So some of these are a little thicker, and I'll show you how you can use those as well. So I have a minimum of 3 pillows for this process. I think that should be sufficient for most. And the other really important thing is a towel roll. Now I have here 2 rolled up lengthwise hand towels. I really like hand towels because they're not quite as cumbersome. The roll I get out of them is a little bit smaller, kind of works for most people's size. So a nice towel roll like this will work great. So I'm going to show you how you would use this in a second. So let's get started with talking about how you would sit elevated in bed. Now, elevated position is nice because it's not going to put you in that flat position and put a lot of pressure on the occipital or the base of the skull, which tends to get a lot of pressure on it from the neck brace. So if you like to sit up for your rest, this is how I would do it in bed. I would start right away with this type of nice soft, it's got some memory foam to it, so it's not going to be hard to lay against, but it gives good support. So I have the wedge elevated here just so that I'm not sitting completely up, but I'm also not putting that pressure on the back of my head. So I got that position there. And the next thing I would do is find my, flat pillow, and I'm actually going to fold it in half. And so for this, my goal is to have something to kind of rest against that's not going to put too much pressure on my head. So again, really important that it's a fairly flat pillow for that. This is tricky to do alone. If you have a second set of hands with you, I would strongly recommend you have them involved, at least for the first few times you set up your sleeping process, because it's a little hard to get everything in position with the brace on. All right, so now we're going to get ourselves positioned on against the wedge here. It's really important that you're not doing a lot of twisting during this process. And for some people, this alone is okay for them, even if they're just sitting and kind of resting. But I like to have this pillow available, and I'm going to put it behind my head here, and I'm going to kind of have to do some adjusting, and that's okay, because I can't really look back to do it. Now I've got it resting kind of against my upper shoulders, and that gives me enough support, and you may want to pull it down just a little bit more. Again, this is going to be super individual and super specific to your comfort. I find that this position is pretty comfortable for me. And then this is the real key. I like to have the other 2 pillows available to act as sort of armrests, like I would if I was in a recliner. And then from here, I can kind of nestle in, create a little nest position, and get comfortable enough to even doze off for a period of time. This might also be a good position to be in if perhaps you've got a TV or you're sitting for your meal, so on and so forth. If you're doing it from the bed level, having the wedge with a little pillow support behind you is a really nice way to kind of get comfortable. So the next position I'm going to talk about is how to get comfortable laying flat or on your side. So we'll get that set up for you. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to set you up for laying flat or on your side in bed. This is going to require, again, the very flat pillow. And then in addition to that, the towel roll. So again, I have 2 towels rolled up here. They're relatively flat. I don't want a ton of elevation out of them. They're really just meant to add some density to the pillow so that the back of my head has something to rest on that doesn't cause me to sink in and then get that counter pressure against the bone on the back of my skull. So I'm going to set my towel roll estimated about halfway in the middle of the pillow, hoping that it'll hit me kind of in the back of the head. And again, this is to try to get pressure off of the brace. So laying on your back is tricky, but it's necessary for getting your legs up if you need to elevate and things like that. So let's go ahead and lay back, and I'll show you what this is going to look like and how I'd use the other two pillows to help as well. So we're going to pivot around. And again, I'm estimating here, so I'm going to have to do some adjusting. All right, pretty good. So I've got the flat pillow resting kind of on my shoulders and giving me a little bit of support here. And the goal for this, again, this towel roll is to kind of rest along the back of my skull. I don't want it pressing into the brace because that'll give me a headache. So I want it really against the back of my skull. Now I have a ponytail in. I would definitely not recommend having a ponytail. Just give something else to give you a headache. It's in for the purpose of the video to keep my hair out of the way. But from here, I'm resting with my neck in a stable position. Now, the best way to know if your neck is still in a good alignment and you're not being forced too far forward is whether there's a lot of pressure here on the chin. If you feel like the pressure of the chin piece is extremely high, that could mean that you're too far forward, that your neck is too flexed. So you may have to take out one of the towels in your towel roll or exchange your pillow for an even flatter option. Some people will lay on a completely flat bed, but I find for myself and for a lot of clients, it's uncomfortable against the shoulders to be completely flat on the mattress all night. Now again, for some folks, this position will only get them so far and they'll need to roll over onto their side to get that pressure off the back of their skull. Now I like to use the second and third pillow options to kind of give me a little peace of mind that I'm not going to accidentally roll in my sleep. So I like to kind of tuck each pillow underneath each side of my kind of torso area and rest my arms on it. This is actually pretty darn comfortable. I could fall asleep like this right now. And that way, you're not going to worry about accidentally rolling side to side in your sleep. The pillows will stop that motion. So that's a really good idea if you're concerned about sleeping hard and attempting to roll and throwing your neck off. So that's how I would get onto my back. Now let's just show you how I would modify this just a little bit to get up onto my side comfortably, which I think is probably the most comfortable position. So first things first, I'd take one of the pillows, and I like to have a thin pillow for between my knees. And this is just going to keep that spinal alignment all the way down, which is a really good idea anytime you're laying on your side, whether you have an injury or a recovery process or not. And then I'm going to take and kind of do my log roll, keeping my body nice and still, resting my ear and side of my head against this pillow or towel roll here. Now, if you're concerned again that maybe this is putting your neck up too high, then you feel the pressure of the brace against the back underside of your ear here. If this is pressing really hard into the ear, the head is probably elevated too much. And again, you may need to remove one of the layers of towel or find a flatter pillow. You can use the second pillow here to kind of rest the arm on, and this is going to keep you from kind of over-rotating and can put some torque on the neck too. So having a second pillow here underneath the arm is going to help keep your body in a nice straight alignment. It's a very similar positioning strategy to what I described in my recovery video that I've done about recovering from a spinal surgery. So very, very similar, just with the addition of this towel roll to kind of give your head something solid to rest against and take the pressure off of the neck brace. So there you have it, side lying. I can lay here pretty comfortably, and if you rotate between side and back sleeping, most people can get a decent night's rest. This is not easy, it's not always comfortable, but at least this gives you some options. So I'm going to go ahead and sit up here, move my pillows out of the way, and then from here I can bring my legs over the edge and come sitting up safely without putting any extra twist in my neck. So there you have it, a couple of options for getting comfortable for sleep when you're recovering with a neck brace. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. If you got some value out of this video, consider giving me a thumbs up. And as always, if you need more information on how to stay safe and independent in your home and community, consider subscribing to EquipMeOT. Thank you.